Star Wars Battlefront was the best-selling Star Wars game of all time. At least that's what it says on the box. So how does one possibly follow up the best-selling Star Wars game of all time? By adding Samuel L. Jackson. Oh, I'm sorry, Mace Windu. And you can play as Mace Windu, or as I call him, Jedi Jules Winfield, in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Oh, come on, Jules Winfield's, you know, Pulp Fiction, The Path of the Righteous Man, never mind. Here, look, there's lightsabers. Star Wars Battlefront 2 seems like the kind of game that could put Star Wars fans into excitement-induced comas. Like the original, Battlefront 2 is all about giving players the chance to participate in the epic space wars they've religiously watched on screen since Star Wars debuted in 1977. So you get to actually be on Felucia and Magito and Naboo when the Republic attacks. Or the Empire, or whatever. The game is all about recreating the most monumental battles from Star Wars and putting players right in the middle of them. It's a very cool concept, and even if you're just a casual Star Wars fan like me, you'll be impressed by not only the attention to detail the game pays to Lucas lore, but the scope of the battles themselves.
Great shooting, trooper!
When you're running around on a battlefield dodging lasers and swinging lightsabers, Battlefront 2 feels just like it should. Hectic and epic. From a gameplay perspective, Battlefront 2 is basically a third-person shooter. You play as your choice of a variety of character types, each with different traits and weapons, and you carry out a series of mission objectives, all the while shooting drones and clones and, you know, Star Wars stuff. The single-player mode includes missions split into two groups. You have the Republic missions, in which you play as a clone trooper, and the Empire missions, in which you play as a stormtrooper. The levels take place on planets from across the Star Wars universe, and the missions are as diverse as the locations. You get space combat missions, on-foot missions, all waged in settings ranging from Hoth to even the Death Star. It's really a lot of fun to take part in these battles, which do an admirable job of conveying that epic feel they have in the movies.
Nice work.
But ultimately, this really isn't a game you'll buy for the single-player mode, because it does have some weaknesses. It is tied together with a story, but the game leaves most of that to the hands of the movies and lore. So the campaign mode itself kind of lacks the narrative structure and punch you might have expected from a game based on such epic source material. So the single-player mode is fun, if a bit flawed, but Battlefront 2 is a decidedly multiplayer game, with a particular focus on online multiplayer. You can play locally via the classic split-screen mode, but the real draw is jumping into online battles with up to 24 players on the PlayStation 2. And 8 more if you're playing the Xbox or PC versions. Now, some of the levels look better than others, and those without the capacity to play online won't be getting the most they could from this game, but for any Star Wars fan, this is an easy recommendation. It's a lot of fun, and, I mean, come on, you can play as Samuel L. Jackson with a lightsaber.
Roy, knock him down! They've sent in the supers!
They've breached the sea wall. Brace yourselves.